Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Shares with me, Kevin Britz, proudly powered by leadershipbydesign.co. We aim to add value to people's lives. You can catch us live every Wednesday and Thursday on ebizradio.com and all your major podcast channels today. If you're seeing this or hearing this today, guys, I want to challenge you to add more value to people's lives. We certainly can have more value added to each other's lives and be kinder to one another. But joining me as per usual, our marketing and communications expert and co-host, Craig Paisley. How are you doing, Craig?
Kevin, great, thank you. Yeah, good to be chatting again. And I had a quick look at what was left of the working year. We've got 3 shows left, and then we're done for 2023, ready for a bit of a break, which I hear you are going to be taking.
I am. I haven't seen, because my daughter's been so busy and doing so many activities and cultural activities and school and friends and weekends. So I was like, okay, well, we're just going away as soon as school closes. So I'm quite excited to but I also haven't been away since last year, December.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to just not be working.
Yeah, the laptop closed for the full duration. Yes.
Well, not even. I'm like, there's one client that specifically wants to see me, so like at least I'm doing it. But I've got one client that I'm going through some coaching with. So
cool.
And you also going away?
I'm going to go down to Cape Town for a week to see my son. I haven't seen him in quite a while either. Just lots of work and travel challenges this year, but definitely looking forward to that. Cape Town and a host of friends are down there, so it's really going to be good catch-up time.
Yeah, well, I might come join him because I might go to Cape Town just for the sake of it, if I can.
Yeah, that's great. If not, why not?
Craig, in today's show, what are the reminder points when we kick it off to last week's conversation?
Kevin, thanks. We had quite an insightful conversation last week when we focused on the topic of marketing budgets and the concept, to quote, that marketers have long benchmarked their budgets against their peers' spending, but that it's time to seek better metrics than the average budget. We referenced the article titled Marketing Budget Planning for 2024 as published on LaunchTeamInc.com, and we note the following key reminder points. So strong marketing partners can help leaders succeed in 2024 with experimentation and scenario planning, that being designing for increasing ambiguity and speed of change, fresh perspective, that being changing customer expectation, demand, and updates to your customer assumptions, automation and marketing technology, that being about improving efficiencies through marketing and sales automation and AI, localization and product rationalization. It's about letting the voice of the consumer and market research help guide both your product and marketing localization, a frictionless e-commerce experience. That's about e-commerce now being the most effective sales channel for B2B companies. Budget is intent, really like this one. It's about budget planning, not just being by the finance department. It also helps to establish your intentions, whether those are entering new markets, whether it's about building market share, or whether it's about improving measurability. Your budget should reflect your goals. Aim for a healthy mix, and we note here that higher than revenue targets are set, the more diverse your marketing mix should be. Startup companies with limited budgets must choose carefully where to invest, and they should think in terms of 3 to 4 integrated and cohesive campaigns. And the more established companies should deliberately add channels to diversify their reach and improve their customer experience. It's about planning for change, scenario planning, A/B testing, and budget set aside for opportunistic spending. This can help you hedge your bets during these turbulent times. And finally, it's a time for new tactics. 2024 isn't the year for rinse and repeat. Add in elements of account-based marketing, work through your approach to hybrid events, experiment with AI, hyper-personalization, and crystallize your brand story to clarify your value proposition in these changing markets, Kevin. And those are the key reminder points from last week.
Fantastic, Craig. So if you want to check it out, some marketing budget planning for 2024. And I love the rinse and repeat.
Yes.
So check it out, because I think that rinse and repeat is something where people get stuck. And we want new. We want something that's not rinsed and repeat. So myself and my assistant, we're actually sitting today to go through some of our tactics that we want to improve on and plan for 2024. So yeah, it's quite exciting to see what's happening in 2024, and yeah, we're gonna take some action on that.
Great.
Craig, so what do we have on the agenda for today?
So Kevin, following up from last week's conversation in marketing budget and the various business types and sectors, what they are allocating to their various activities as a percentage of overall revenue, I thought let's take the conversation a step further by looking at where the marketing budgets are actually being allocated, specifically in terms of the platforms and channels, and what these leading predictions are for advertising spend allocation in 2024.
Yeah, I think that's a necessary conversation because sometimes because you have a budget, people just kind of spend it because they have one, and you've got to go. That's not the point, right? So
yes, so some people see budget as a target as opposed to a plan. Yes, exactly that.
And when you have an actual effective plan to use accordingly, it's far more results driven, and there you can actually see the reason why you're actually using it. So what can you tell us about where the marketing spend is going to be allocated, Craig?
So, Kevin, I want to start by referencing the Ubiquity WFA World Federation of Advertisers annual media budgets for 2024 survey. And what's quite interesting, when I was still in the media world, Ubiquity did this on an annual basis and included findings from South Africa. So, nice deep insight in these reports. The report provides insights into 2024 global advertiser media budget allocation. So to quickly set some context there, Ubiquity partnered with the World Federation of Advertisers for the 2024 report, sourcing feedback from, take note, 92 global brand leadership representatives that are responsible for over $50 billion in advertising and media spend, Kevin. And this equates to an average of about 700 million spend per participating brand. So, these guys really do understand how to segment their budgets and where the real money needs to go. And a number of key questions were presented during the study, and we note the feedback for each of these key areas of focus as follows. So question one was, to what extent do you expect a shift in your global mix of performance versus branding activities? And I was firstly very intrigued and very happy to see branding as a concept coming into the equation and not just advertising spend. So the findings noted that 35% of respondents indicated that they will actually increase their share of branding allocation in 2024, which is really great, more than 1 in 3. The findings also note that 21% of respondents indicated that they will increase the share of performance marketing in 2024, and 44% of respondents indicated that they'll actually maintain their 2003 spend mix. So, almost 50% of budget owners believing that their budgets are effective in this regard. Question two, to what extent do you expect a shift in your global mix of upfront media buying commitments versus short-term flexible buying? And, again, to set some context there, Kevin, the upfront media buying commitments is very much driven around the rebate structures, the collective bulk buying to get better rates and things like that, as opposed to more flexible buying. In many instances, ends up being a more expensive buy. The findings here is that 23% of respondents indicated that they will increase their share of flexible biddable buys in 2024. I think this, again, is just to allow more versatility in seeing where the effectiveness of the buy is and pushing more funds in real time to these areas. 16% of respondents indicated that they'll increase their share of upfront commitments. That's quite a low percentage. And take note here, 61% indicated that they'll actually maintain their 2023 spend mix. So again, there's 2/3 of the CMOs are feeling confident that they've got the right mix in place. Question three is, how do you expect your global and regional budgets to shift in 2024? What we learned is that overall 60% of respondents indicated that they'll actually increase their media budgets in 2024, while only 51% noted the same for the MEA region. So overall, looking at the collective 60%, but when you start getting into the regions where South Africa is represented, only 51% are going to increase budgets. Overall, Kevin, 33% of respondents indicated that they will maintain their 2023 budgets. Looking at the MEA region, again, 38% noted the same, so probably a little bit more risk averse. That said, as much as 13% of the MEA respondents indicated that they are going to significantly increase their media budgets in 2024. This is actually the second highest ranking across all 4 of the regions in the study, Kevin. And then finally, question 4 here is, how do you expect your global media channel investment to change in 2024? The findings here is that video is definitely predicted to be the main budget increase winner for 2024, with digital video reflecting a collective 83% slight increase and significant increase. That's substantial. Advanced connected TV reflects a collective of 85% slight and significant increase. So digital definitely leading the front, but digital video is clearly, yeah, where it's going to be. As expected, print, radio, and linear TV, which is your traditional TV, satellite TV, Kevin, they all are reflecting as declining channels, with linear TV reflecting the biggest budget decline across all channels in the past year. Paid social reflects the 4th biggest collective growth at 66%, while digital out-of-home reflects the 5th biggest collective growth at 65%. And obviously, in the more sophisticated Northern American and European markets, the digital out-of-home capability and real-time connectedness, from street to mobile device to driving you into venues and things like that, is just in another spectrum compared to what we experience in South Africa.
Craig, like just as you mentioning some of the actual media that they are using there, like, the sentiment where content is king. Do you think it's moved to the point where digital content is king?
Absolutely, content is king. The adaptation of content for all the various digital platforms is paramount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what influence does economic factors have on media budget allocation?
Yeah, Kevin, good question there, and there's some really interesting findings on this topic. I looked at quite a broad spectrum of articles in this regard, but especially considering where the world is in respect of economic instability and high inflation across just about all global markets, this is a really, really valid point. So what I found most interesting here, Kevin, in relation to this point, is that the percentages only change gradually across the areas of measure, except for the fact that strongly disagree sentiment actually did not measure at all for 2024 media budget expectations. So the 4 spectrums collapsed into 3 there. And the findings for the question you ask is notes as follows. 74% of respondents agree or strongly agree that their 2024 budget decisions are influenced by economic climate. So, three quarters of all CMOs believe that economic climate is impacting on where they're going to spend on and what they're going to spend on. Interestingly, the very same percentage accounted for last year's predictions as well. Both 2023 and 2024 review reflected 17% neutral, influenced by economic climate, whereas 2024 predictions reflect 9% disagree, whilst 2023 only had 7% disagree, but they also had the 2% strongly disagree. So you can see that the disagree and strongly disagree have collapsed into a quadrant of disagree, so very much on parallel between 2023 and 2024. But to close on this point, Kevin, rising inflation and economic uncertainty are critical deciders on the value and the areas of budget allocation, as well as the fact that many constrained markets lead to less product demand, and therefore the perception of not needing less media and advertising budget allocation goes hand in hand in that regard.
So, I mean, we see where the large companies and brands intend spending their budgets. Where do smaller businesses allocate their media and advertising budgets?
Yeah, and again, this is one fantastic area of focus, because small to medium-sized businesses obviously have much smaller budgets, and they have to either be very, very strategically placed, or really through agencies have to be working a lot harder to achieve the same. So considering that SMEs make up a significant percentage of businesses in South Africa, Kevin, They're great questions. So I found an article titled "How Small Businesses Are Spending Their Marketing Dollars in 2024," and this gives some insights into the global trends in the SME segment. Written by John Hall, who's a senior contributor to Forbes.com, the article was published on the 1st of October this year and opens with the following statement. It's hard to overstate how broad the marketing strategies of small business have become. Before the internet, small companies relied on print and traditional media advertising, cold calling, and tight business networks. Even landing space in the Yellow Pages was considered an effective marketing move. That definitely is going back a while. Today's marketing options are much more extensive. Small businesses are increasing how much they spend on them. And according to a recent Taradell marketing survey, 94% of small businesses have plans to actually boost their marketing spend in 2024. And that could be on a great success coming out of COVID, where there's a lot more traction in the small business space, Kevin. But as you can see, the majority of small business covered in the article definitely realize the value of increasing marketing spend. And you and I have spoken a lot about, in constrained markets, those that shrink their budgets definitely are the ones that lose out. In those constrained markets, those that increase their budget are definitely going to be the winners. So let's take a look at where their budget commitments are directed. Obviously, social media advertising would be first and foremost. It's a key area of concentration for most small businesses, with in excess of 70% having allocated budget for social media marketing since 2022, and that's going to continue increasing. Over 25% of these small businesses have allocated between 10 and 30% of their advertising budgets. The primary reason being that social media is very cost effective, with extensive reach and highly focused targeting and segmentation capability, which is vitally important for small businesses. A point that plays in the favor of social media is customer acceptance and trust is in place, especially in the likes of YouTube, which is the most trusted platform, then Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Craig, but I mean, I think social media it's kind of the place to, and I'm making an assumption, but I think it's the go-to for a lot of brands, because we know that people are so connected and so distracted by their own phones. So it's like a no-brainer. It's a human behavior that people are already tapping into.
Very, very much so. Connected is correct. It's real time. It's connected. It's the power of segmentation, and it's flexible. You can, that's why some of the brands we looked at in the opening section, there are a number of bigger brands that are increasing the allocation of funds and advertising spend, being more flexible and nimble. And it's very much aligns with the power of social media and digital per se, Kevin.
Yeah.
Interesting one here. One thing that we don't necessarily experience much in this country, but direct mail is a channel that is great relevance for small business, specifically in markets where the postal services are still world class and really big at adoption in the USA and Europe still. To quote the article, it remains relevant because it involves a tangible item that makes a memorable physical impression on customers. As more small businesses turn to social media or other high-tech marketing solutions, there's less mailbox competition with direct mail, making it likelier to stand out. Good point. With nearly 63% of small businesses planning to use direct mail in 2024. So still a significant, almost 2/3 of small businesses looking to direct mail as a mechanism, Kevin.
Some of the latest stats that I've heard about direct mail is 3 times a week, which I'm kind of going, that seems like a lot, Craig. When you're sending out mail to people at 3 times a week, 12 times a month, but essentially at this point, making any sales, there are some stats that support 11 touch points before someone actually engages with your brand.
That's a hell of a lot. And the key point that comes to mind for me there is, how expensive is that? If you're looking at 12 engagements in the month from a physical touchpoint point of view, it's there's postal costs, there's printing costs, there's manpower costs behind all of that. Whereas the digital channel, if you really get your segmentation and hyper personalization in place, that's a much cheaper route to market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin, SEO remains a growing area of spend, obviously, with Google Ads having changed their digital marketing landscape for many of the small businesses. Much easier to use, keyword research, demographic analytics, design tools, simpler to engage with. And marketing employees can actually even create entire campaigns without stepping away from their desks or needing to use big behemoth agencies. An important point here highlighted that the SEO landscape is very competitive, which places a demand on marketing departments to constantly have their companies appear at the top of search results. This obviously does have cost implications, and it's especially important because 95% of all web traffic goes to websites page one, when brands really want you to engage in page one and move to page two, and eventually get to the contact us form. The reality here is a lot of organic content required, a lot of digital bought media, sponsored media, just to keep the rankings up there. It's time consuming and really needs a good strategy to keep small businesses in above the line.
Yeah, Craig, I've gone down that SEO road one too many times, and unless you have actual money to throw behind it, for a small business, it almost feels like a waste of time.
Kevin, you just have to be producing content time and time again and ensuring it's got the right tags, it's in the right environment, it's been pushed to the right endpoint. It definitely is a high demand requirement to have it work effectively for you. Absolutely. But when it works, goodness me, and you go screaming up the rankings, then that's where you want to be.
Yeah, essentially, when it works, that's when is the correct one.
Yeah, I didn't say if, so that's on the premise that it does work here when it works. So, but moving on, email and content marketing are definitely key strategies that offer these unique opportunities to connect with customers for SMEs and build hopefully enduring, deep, lasting relationships, Kevin. Email marketing is inexpensive. It provides a direct line of communication to customers. It allows businesses to send those targeted messages, frequency of promotions, and it's updates directly to the inbox of those that have opted in and subscribed. Content marketing has also gained significant traction with the small businesses in recent years by creating valuable, engaging content. As I said, content. Small businesses can position themselves as industry authorities and thought leaders and attract those dedicated audiences. Blog posts, videos, infographics, and podcasts, as we're doing, are also a few other forms in which content can be delivered, Kevin. Traditional media, this definitely has some level of relevance, but been obscured significantly in this digital age. It is still an area of focus for some small businesses, local retailers, restaurants, B2B service providers, and others dealing with customers directly will likely benefit from printed ads. Again, in out of home, there's highly effective mechanisms to use for out-of-home advertising, and then even smaller, cheaper advertising, TV advertising, but definitely trying to get into the digital space in the right way. Traditional media remains relevant because of its user-friendly nature, and to quote the article, many potential customers are put off by the busy marketing landscape of the internet and its complex click-through procedures. While traditional media audiences are sure to decline in future generations, many small businesses will continue to find value in this so-called old-fashioned marketing, Kevin. But finally, on this point, competition for attention on social media and the internet will only increase in the coming years, and small businesses really need to be ready to jump in and manage this process, and they therefore need to prioritize their multi-channel approach to marketing for 2024 and onwards. And as the marketing landscape evolves, moving away from the traditional to even more entrenched digital, personal, hyper-connected, these small businesses need to stay adaptable and open to emerging trends. This is the only way that they are going to be able to thrive, Kevin.
Okay, but I just as a side note, for those who are listening, I think the multi-channel approach to marketing, that's not as complicated as you'd think, because you could actually do short courses on Udemy. You could do short courses or educate yourself. You can YouTube this stuff, and you could really find a really fantastic way of actually how to connect 3 or 4 channels around one piece of content and repurposing content to a large degree. So, when you
Absolutely correct.
as multi-channel approach marketing, people kind of go, oh, well, I don't know what the hell that means. But it's not as complicated as what people make it seem, I suppose.
And if a piece of content is written in the right way, you could really take a good, strong SEO-driven headline with segments of content that can then be broken down into individual posts as a sequence and a build on a story, a build on information. Yeah, exactly that. Some into a particular a social media channel. Definitely video, podcast, vlogs, the likes are powerful, very simple, powerful ways for small businesses to also pick up on increasing their digital capability.
Absolutely. Craig, so as we end today's show, what are the key takeaways for the listeners?
Kevin, I want to reference the article titled 2024 looks to be a defining year for the ad market. And the article focuses on picking the most recent advertising spend forecasts. The article was written by Rebecca Stewart, Adweek's Europe brand director. I've come across a couple of Rebecca's articles. But before reviewing this article on exactly that point, I'd like to encourage our listeners to read Rebecca Stewart's article, the same topic from last year, this one titled How Marketers Are Rebalancing Ad Spending Budgets in 2023, because it provided a great reference point coming out of the pandemic through 2022, what the expectations for 2023 were, and Rebecca's built on this now moving into 2024, and both articles were published to Adweek, so easy to find. So picking up on today's key takeaway points, we note the following. According to WARC's UK data, advertising budgets will increase by 3.9% in 2024, reaching 45 million, that being UK specifically, $1 million. According to WARC's US data, advertising budgets will increase by 7.6% in 2024, reaching 326 billion. This accounts for just over 1/3 of total global advertising spend, Kevin. According to WARC's European data, advertising budgets will increase by 3.6% in 2024. So we're definitely seeing the European markets a lot more constrained in their spend. And then according to WARC's Africa data, advertising budgets will increase on the back of 11.6% decline in 2023. And this specifically was supported by a 6.1% growth in South Africa for 2024. So whilst they're looking at really good growth, it definitely comes off a significant drop from 22 to 23. Chief marketing officers are spending their budgets across digital advertising, including display, video, search, and social, all dominated by global media spend. And really, when you look at the 5 biggest tech firms, Alibaba, Alphabet, Amazon, ByteDance, which is TikTok's owner, and then obviously Meta, these 5 companies will receive 51.9% of total global advertising spend in 2024. And on the back of that, we're going to see their respective revenues rising by about 10.7%. Yeah, and definitely that's what shareholders are looking for. A piece that we often do touch on, and really a platform or channel that fascinates me, advanced retail media networks. They're definitely part of the fastest growing advertising channels. WARC again predicts that the retail media spend will increase by 10.5% year on year, rising to, take note, $141.7 billion in 2024, representing as much as 13.6% of total advertising spend, Kevin. Amazon obviously remains the biggest player, and they're expected to reach 37.2% of the spend in the space, Kevin. Great revenue driver there. Social media, definitely the fastest growing medium. Spend will rise by 227.2 billion in total, or 21.8% of total spend. And take note here, Meta will take up 64.4% of that particular spend, Kevin. Connected TV, CTV projected to grow by 12.1% in 2024. Again, reaching a whopping $33 billion, While only representing 3.2% of total advertising spend, connected TV does represent 16.2% of premium video spend, which is connected TV and linear TV combined. Linear TV spend continues to decline, but still remains the world's third largest single medium, with 15% of the market at $163 billion projected for 2024. And finally, a reality check is channels like TV, radio, and new brands are in many ways still more effective at driving performance as digital channels in the long term. So we're going to see TV and radio remain as a powerful platform, but digital is obviously the channels for long-term expectation. Those are the reminder points for today, Kevin.
Fantastic. I love it, Craig. Guys, if you want to check out the show, if you want to join us, if you want to leave comments, get hold of us, go and check it out on the Lunchtime series on YouTube or on any of your major podcast channels. And you can just, you can Google us. You'll find us everywhere. But I have a really interesting quote here from Tony Zambito, lead authority in buyer personas. And he says, instead of using technology to automate processes, think about using technology to enhance human interaction. And I think it speaks really well to, as much as you have all these marketing things, you still have to engage with your audience, right? There has to be an element of engagement. So I always remember that. Craig, thank you so much. Thanks for the insights. I'm definitely going to be stealing some information like I always do for some reference on what I'm doing from my side. Craig, have a fantastic week. Guys, we'll check you next week. And thank you for today, Craig.
Thanks, Kevin. Good to be chatting. And yeah, good luck with your realignment and budget building this afternoon.
Fantastic. Have a good one. Chat soon.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.